Channel 79, we're going to start the meeting. Good evening, good afternoon, everybody. It is 4:30 p.m. on Tuesday, April 2nd. We are the Darien Sewer Commission in room 206 of Town Hall. Going to go through our regular meeting agenda. Call to order. A little late today. We apologize for making people wait. It's 4:40. And first item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our March 14th meeting.
Actually, and I'm sorry I didn't send out minutes and that. There was quite a few.
Okay.
Quite a few things that caught my eye. Number 8 here, new business. I would suggest that we add, Mr. Hill suggested a site walk visit. It wasn't necessary to fully understand the project, but that was part of it that we would want to do.
I remember that.
There's a little spelling error. Up here, number 5, obstructed, was in. It's next to was in there.
Do you want to tear those off and hand them into Darren? They look...
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a lot of...
Number 5, what?
I'll just give you these, Darren. They're and I also want, I think it's important when we talked about Parklands that Craig left the room as well. That's in number 7.
Okay. Number 7.
But I'll hand you these. They're mostly nits and nats. It's correction, spelling errors.
Thank you for catching that. Bob, you got anything?
Mine is just a nit and a nat.
Okay, which one?
It's, Reese, did you get this one on the superintendent's report under section D there?
Mm-hmm.
Where it says, Mr. Alstafine, it said that staff is, it's
Yeah.
actively, it's not
I didn't catch
actively.
that. Well done.
Actively.
I've got like 3 more of those.
All right.
Little-
Adverb, not noun.
Yep. I put that in, so,
If we're gonna do it
So it's
right.
captured on
yeah.
Reese's suggested
Yeah,
edit.
I'll
Yes, so
move
mine's,
that
I'm
we-
good with that.
We do the amended nits and nats. They're all
Okay,
handed
that's a
there now.
motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on the minutes? It's going to go like this a lot tonight. Any further discussion?
Thank you.
No.
Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
Aye. All right, item 2, done. Item number 3, Weed Beach Development, Parks and Recreation, discussion and action.
Okay.
Hi, Pam.
Ask us for a draft resolution.
All right.
Yeah, it might actually be helpful to read for the record. I can do that.
Yeah.
A resolution of the Town of Darien Sewer Commission authorizing the Park and Recreation Commission of the Town of Darien to make use of a portion of the land adjacent to the Commission's sewer disposal plant, whereas the Town of Darien is the owner of the property located adjacent to Weed Beach on the Long Island Sound, and whereas a portion of the property is used by the Sewer Commission and a portion by the Park and Recreation Commission, and whereas the site is adjacent to a residential area along the southern edge of the town, it is bordered by residential neighborhoods to the east and west, the Long Island Sound to the south, and a sewer disposal plant to the north. I might change that term, sewer disposal plant, to sewer pump station. Nearwater Lane borders the site to the east, Short Lane juts into the middle of the site. Whereas the town seeks to develop the property at and about Short Lane to create a usable space for residents of Darien while integrating the site into the abutting Weed Beach Park along Long Island Sound. And whereas attached here to and made a part hereof is, as Exhibit 1, a tax assessor's map which reflects the area in question, part of which is reserved for the use of the, again, I would say, sewer pump station, unless there's a specific reason it says otherwise. Where's that? I lost myself. Where'd I go?
Right here.
Thank you.
Mid.
Whereas attached here to and made a part hereof as Exhibit 2 is a map showing a project overview, in particular the Short Lane Park Extension Project, and whereas it is the request of the Park and Recreation Commission as part of the Short Park Lane Extension Project, Short Lane Yeah, Short Lane Extension Park Project, maybe, huh? You see that, Pam?
Yes,
You
so
see
we'll
that.
park-
It is dedicated park space, all right.
Yeah,
But we don't
Part-
refer to it as short lane anymore.
okay.
As part of the project, to strike all that?
Yeah, part of the project. That's, look,
We
I think
call
we've
it the
already kind
Weed
of
Beach
defined it.
Improvement
And small
Project.
p?
Okay, so actually, let's do that. As
Beach
part of the
Improvement.
Weed Beach Improvement Project.
Ooh, almost an acronym.
Got that, Darren?
Got it.
To make use of a portion of that area adjacent to the pump station for purposes of developing
The site.
the site. Whereas it is the desire of the Sewer Commission to allow such use with the understanding that the Commission would have the unilateral right and authority to have the use returned to it should the land be necessary for the use by the Sewer Commission. Whereas attached here to and made a part hereof as Exhibit 3 is a project overview which shows the fenced pump station. This fenced area will continue to be used and reserved for the Sewer Commission. The remaining area, with the approval of the Sewer Commission, will be used by the Park and Recreation Commission as a part of the Weed Beach Improvement Project. Now therefore be it resolved that the Darien Sewer Commission hereby authorizes the Darien Park and Recreation Commission to use a portion of the property as shown on Exhibit 3 for purposes of the development of the Weed Beach Improvement Project again. Now therefore be it resolved that the area to be used by the Park and Recreation Commission will specifically exclude the fenced area depicted on Exhibit 3. Now therefore be it resolved that there will be no construction or modification to the property in question that will inhibit future use of said property by the Sewer Commission, like that one. Be it further resolved that this use is with the understanding that Darien Sewer Commission has the right to terminate this use should it determine that the use of said land is needed by the Commission. Now, let me just look through the exhibits. So immediately, 1, 2, 3.
Craig, would we want to put terminate or modify this use?
I like that idea. Terminate or modify. That's a great idea.
Because maybe we don't need all the land?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, we need to do something, or we need a temporary construction access, or whatever it is, yeah. Last clause, Sewer Commission has the right to terminate or modify. Okay, so these exhibits, now, would we typically file a resolution like this on the land records after approving it? Can or can't? There's no protocol?
It's
Our choice?
town to town.
Yeah.
I think we should.
Yeah,
Not much money.
if so,
So,
I'm not loving, these exhibits are helpful for describing what we're talking about, but they're not great for things that get microfiched or made copies of. They'll turn black and never be visible again. And since we happen to have a survey of everything, I'm wondering if we should use at least a portion of the survey and create a more clear outline.
that makes sense, because if it does get changed, then you'd know.
Now, what was we had an original map.
You get with the boardwalk.
From last month?
Yeah, I forgot my
Yeah.
packet from last month. Because this one was super helpful showing the area that we actually had jurisdiction over.
Right.
Which is-
Referring to the Weed Beach survey that I handed out
This-
tonight?
No,
This
no.
Weston and Sampson's site layout plan. So that kind of shows, and I'm assuming, Pam, you correct me if I'm wrong, the area that we're here talking about is this area, because these we do not have
Right.
any jurisdiction over yet. So I feel like something along the lines of highlighting
A cut of
that
just-
area.
Closer to that area.
really should be the
But it's
attached
not that
exhibit.
whole area.
No,
Oh.
just our
Okay,
portion
because,
of the-
right,
our
because
property.
that big red mark there, that goes to the water.
Yeah.
That's
Oh, yeah.
partial Weed Beach Park and Short
No,
Lane.
you were just looking at
Yeah,
what
why
our
don't you, why don't you
parcel.
step over just so we're,
Craig's thinking more of what our parcel is and the
Yeah.
activity on our
we
parcel.
don't have anything to say about this.
So we can attach it to the resolution there.
Okay, where is this?
So here's the pump station
there.
and,
Gotcha.
short lane.
There's the, yep,
Yeah.
you're right.
There's the boardwalk.
Yes.
So this is where we're granting our permission? Okay, so as long as we're both clear.
That way, if this permission and that are on the land records, you know exactly what got
Yeah.
built, what got approved, when it got
I
approved,
agree.
how it's being used.
Yeah.
If it needs to be modified later, you know.
So I guess my request is for an improved exhibit that can survive copying and microfiching and scanning.
We
That,
should allow staff.
yeah,
Yeah.
When I mean staff, I mean Darren.
yeah, we don't have to,
Parks and Rec to put a map together,
Yeah.
delineate those areas.
we don't have to hire these surveyors to do it. But I just want it to be clear the area that we have jurisdiction
Well, I
over.
think the important thing is that we
Thank you.
treat the town pretty similar to everything else. It's just more of a process and having good documentation. We've had
Yeah.
easements before that weren't recorded,
We should be
uses.
without question.
Yeah.
Yep, great. Do you have anything to add, any other information we should have?
I do not.
Okay. I think I would like, to take, before taking immediate action, I just want to see the whole package, finalized, complete, edits, new exhibit, and just make sure we're happy of it before taking action on the resolution. Is there any
I'm fine with
opposing
that.
view?
No, I think that's,
I would actually like to see the planting scheme for between the boardwalk and our plant, because having walked the area, it's opening up an area which was not, I won't say hadn't seen the light of day, but there's some shadows cast there, shall I say, in their storage principles.
Are there any plans for landscaping the area between the boardwalk and the fence line?
None of that. I mean, we have a design
This
that's
is
been
a
given
very
us.
basic kind
So,
of- yeah.
right, so nothing has been, we don't even
Okay.
have funding at this.
Yeah.
But,
So, I'm trying to be attentive to your concern. I agree that once you take all the brush out of the way, and then all of a sudden you're looking at a pump station that you weren't looking at before.
Well, I'll be honest, what I'm afraid of is you're gonna have now citizens that are down there that are gonna complain, and because of us being generous and allowing them to use the property, we're gonna have to incur expense to upgrade and beautify our pump station.
So,
we may have some plans.
Pam, would you call the current plan schematic, or is it more along the lines of, ready for action?
It's schematic.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, certainly changes like that can be made.
Yeah.
And we're looking at, how we can share resources within town
Yeah,
to get the
different
project
things
done.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe
yes,
it's the-
this is not in stone, but
Yeah.
the concept is, and the certainly the
We've got some
pathways.
housekeeping
So,
to do down there, too.
I hear this makes.
I'm not saying
Yeah,
we
yeah.
don't.
So this does make sense, though. I think, but on a base level, maybe there's a way to grant permission subject to understanding
Well, I'm in
how
favor of the
how the border
concept.
will be. Yeah, exactly. So
Exactly.
grant the permission subject to understanding how the border is treated, so that, fences will make good neighbors.
I mean, there are other sections of the pump station where wooden stockade fence was affixed to the chain link fence.
Yeah,
But I don't think that should be at the expense of the sewer commission.
got it. Yeah. So would you propose, say, another sentence in the resolution that said,
With appropriate screening.
or with appropriate screening of the border, or, we need to look at the screening or proposal for the border, or, what do you think
I mean,
helps resolve
I'm
the
willing
concern?
to be in favor of it just saying appropriate
Yeah.
screening.
Yeah.
I would have
Okay,
faith
so let's look
that,
at that.
I think
that,
once it's cleared out and enhanced, you're gonna see what needs more work. like
yes,
that.
but I mean, we know
Yeah.
that there's gonna be work needed.
So we might have a clause that says something like, whereas the Park and Recreation Commission is we can change the words after I say it the first time, is responsible for appropriate screening along the border between these lands and the pump station. I think that's it, right? Did I get it right?
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing over the top, but
Sure.
just something.
And I believe there are some
Yeah, there might be stuff that
Plantings
is there
already
that works. Yeah.
put in the, I don't have it in front of me.
It's pretty rugged.
Oh, in the plant, right now, it's
Right.
relative, it's brambles and thorns.
Oh, I mean,
and
No, no, I know
Yeah,
that, but actually
Oh,
on
in
the
the plan.
design
Okay.
itself, I
So
know
there's
that
a
there's
landscape plan
green
maybe that we
because.
don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not on here, there's no,
Right.
trying to get-
I
get
believe
ahead of
there is. And you know what I could do is send you that.
yeah, no, I'm
that-
just trying
That
to not
design so
have.
that you can see that there's greenery
Okay.
around that.
Okay.
I
So
just
you,
don't want
so
surprises
in the
later
next,
on in
so in the next month, we're going to table this. In the next month, we'll get an edited resolution. Darren, we're going to add a whereas clause about providing appropriate screening along the border. And you're going to get us whatever
Sure.
planting plan
Yep.
that you have for our review. And
No
But
problem.
but I think you can leave with generally a positive feeling of how we all feel.
Well, yeah, no, I
Oh,
think
yeah.
we'll get this done.
Without a doubt, it's just-
But,
It's a good thought. And yeah, I can certainly straighten that out for you. I think you'll find that the plan shows that, not the specific species
but
of what
some-
No,
natural.
but just the idea that there is gonna be screening.
Exactly, just as there is with the neighbors in the public hearings.
On the-
We're
on that
concerned
side,
on the
yeah.
other side.
Yeah.
But we were able to show that there would be new plantings and trees there too, to
great.
screen them.
So any further discussion? Staff, any questions? All right, we'll see this
See you
next
next
month. No action needed.
Oh, and I measured it, it's like 15 feet would be the closest to the fence.
That's
Okay.
enough for a tree.
No, I didn't think that the boardwalk needed to be moved, I just need a reasonable amount of screening in there, that's all.
All right, we're going to move to item number 4, sewer use, very much,
Thank you.
ma'am. Sewer use fee appeals, discussion in Axon. Item 4A is 1 Salt Box Lane. Brian Stobie.
Oh, yeah, I got to talk. Not a problem. So, all right,
Watch this.
I'm gonna kill him. I
What?
thought it was like one-on-one, I didn't know it was in a room.
oh, piece of cake. It's
He said, will you go
actually,
take care of this?
You gotta be kidding me.
do you want me to give the synopsis, or you got it?
Go
I can do
ahead,
it.
go.
Okay,
Off the
so,
hook, look at that.
so, there was a leak, and your husband astutely noticed it in the water bill, and he repaired it.
And you fixed it.
And that makes me very happy that it didn't linger.
Well, it did. I mean, obviously, it was
No,
a month
it
without.
that's not lingering.
That's
I just-
horrible.
That's not lingering.
just want
No,
to point
that's
out,
horrible.
there's a lot of backed up resentment coming out here that you
No.
don't know the story
You should
about.
have fixed this, and then I had no idea it caused this damage. But-
Oh, no,
Go ahead.
that's, okay. So anyway, it's minimal. So what I did was I took, I knocked out of the 17-18 year, I knocked out the 35 and the 15, those 2 months. Took the rest, averaged them, annualized them, and I came up with 332.22. So not only do you not have to pay the second installment, you would get a $122.61 refund on the first installment.
Thank you.
So I will make a motion to
numbers?
recalculate the sewer bill to $332.22.
Do I have a second?
Yes, absolutely.
Any further discussion? Anything you'd like to add?
Thank you. You did a great job.
All those in favor? Aye. Sounds like it's unanimous. Okay.
Do you do taxes?
I do, mine.
All right, item 4B,
Begrudgingly.
437 Hoyt Street, Doris O'Brien, non-appearing.
Okay. Have
Whoa.
talked to Tamara and have done the calculations.
Whoa,
And this one drags on,
whoa.
but I am prone to not being quite the same on this one. There's some underlying issues. The husband who was taking care of it died, and the lady who's taking care of it now is 93. And I will not speak any further because I hope to be 93. So anyway, there's a couple
The Tin
things.
Man has a heart.
It's frozen, but it's there. Two things. First, if you were reading one of the notes, unfortunately, I have to bring this to light only because if it were a different commission, I would want them to bring it to light to us. The note of 4B of 3 of 16, the interaction center there.
This is with
Yes. The daughter calls Aquarian and states that both her parents are older and passed away. They have in a garage apartment. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's up to code. And because we know about it, or I knew about it when I read that, I feel morally responsible if there were a tenant in there and it wasn't up to code and something happened, I would feel obligated.
Is that as a fireman?
Yes, but just as a cold-hearted individual. But it needs to, I don't know, is planning and zoning that needs to know, or enforcement, or whoever?
Want us to report to planning and zoning?
Yes, please.
Well, we'll report it.
So that being done, that's item 1. Item 2 would be, I've looked at the numbers, and I would make the motion that for year 2017, and the year 2018, the minimum charge is appropriate.
Okay.
If we do that, we would be giving this lady a refund of $3,000. So for 18 and 19, or excuse me, for 17 and 18, it's $219.55. The tax collector is holding her check, so for the second installment, as of today, so that should be returned to her along with a refund of $3,997.46. So I'll make a motion.
399646.
No, 399746.
0.46. And that's a refund in
That's-
addition to the, okay, the 219 is the minimum charge for 1718.
Yes,
A refund.
the refund,
Check,
the
second
actual
installment
check would from the town would be $3,997.46.
And that's based on the refund down to 219 last year and the
Yes.
half payment that was already made.
And
this
then
year.
they also need to return
The
the
check.
other half payment, which they're holding in limbo at the tax collector's office.
Has the leak been repaired?
Yes, you can see that just from the numbers.
Oh, I didn't see the graph come back down.
Yeah.
No, it's we're way back down. 2, 0. Got it.
Yes, and then a tenant moved in in August of
5,
the
7,
17,
7,
18,
9,
so it
yeah,
goes
yeah,
up,
yeah.
so
I got it.
that'll be
I see it.
reflected in next year's bill.
So we have a motion.
I'll second that. Well done.
Any further discussion? Staff, any questions? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye, unanimous. All right, done with sewer user fee appeals.
Okay, I saved as much time as I could.
5, 719 Boston Post Road, Old Town Hall Sewer Connection, Sion Kaus, P.E. Nope.
Is anybody here?
They were here last time, we asked them for more information. Do we get that more information?
I haven't gotten any new information. They have not called me. They have not contacted me, sent me anything by email.
They're under construction.
Yeah.
Table number 5.
Okay,
Should we be proactive and just throw a call in?
I'm gonna call.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fair.
Item 6, 63 St. Nicholas Road, sewer lateral connection, discussion and action. I should have brought my package from last time, which I didn't do.
I have it.
In your packages should be a map and then, I think there was a map attached to the agenda package.
Yeah.
Document, both sides working together and agreeing, both councils and our town council also reviewed this for the commission.
This is basically making sure that each party's access way is accessible to the other for utility rights, including
Yes,
sewers.
and it also gives each of them rights to the other one's property.
Yes.
Because the sewer is located on both properties. So
Okay, this was actually
now
not
the
last
formal
time,
legal-
it was
Formal map.
older than that, but I'm good.
You have copies of the map? Have you seen it?
Yeah, there's reductions on page 12 and 13. So town council has reviewed this declaration of mutual sanitary sewer easement and is comfortable with it?
Yes,
Okay.
and the map.
So that's page 6, 1 of 14. Any questions?
Oh, yeah, 14 of 14 is the map.
Yep.
We have a
14 of
part
there's the map, yep.
Correct.
Yeah, that looks good.
I didn't see anything that's not my forte.
Basically, one is in
No,
favor
it's
of the
good.
other, and
Yeah,
vice
no,
versa.
it's clear. It's documented now forever, it's great.
Yes.
Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Staff, any comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. 5-6 is approved. Item, wait, what did I just do? Okay, 7, that was 63 St. Nicholas Road, sewer lateral connection, discussion and action. And now we're moving on to 7, 74 Christie Hill Road, sewer lateral connection, permit issue, discussion and action. This is the one that has leftover
Yeah.
documents from last week.
Commission may recall last meeting, here's from Mrs. Christensen, I'm Christie Hill. The commission asked staff to reach out to the builder and contractor for the Greenleaf property. We did that, the letters are included in their package, and both the developer and the contractor are here, as well as Mrs. Christensen.
Okay. Give me 1 minute to catch up. All right. I guess the questions first would be for Mr. Pagliarulo. So the situation, as I understand it, is, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you were there and I wasn't. Back in 2001, you were the owner of 73 Greenleaf,
Yes,
and over the course of that period of time, you developed the property, placing a house in the middle of the lot. And one of the ancillary activities that would have needed to occur was the movement of an existing sewer that went through the middle of the lot. And so we assume around that same point in time, that sewer was moved and you were the party that caused it to be moved. But our paperwork is missing in terms of a proper sewer permit being pulled, proper inspections being done, as-built being filed of its location, et cetera, et cetera. So we're basically just trying to resolve the paperwork problem we have so that should the owner in the back, the owner currently of 74 Christie Hill, go to sell her property, that there's no issue with this open permit. So is that a fair summary?
pretty much, pretty close. We had a sewer line that ran through the center of the piece of property that I purchased. Sarah's house was behind us. We had an easement on our property to the right-hand side as you were facing the property. So we actually had two sewer connections, one for the new property and then a relocation for Sarah's property. So there were actually two sewer lines that were there.
Okay. So there's a lateral connection to the house that's there now, and then one that goes around, basically. To
Correct. So they were two brand-new lines. One lateral was used that was existing, and one was added in along with, obviously, a whole brand-new line.
Okay. And so, really, we need to get the paperwork cleaned up. So what's the best way to do that?
My point of interest, you stated that there was no permit. There was a permit pulled. There was no inspection, there was no as-built drawing submitted. And this all came about because when the Greenleaf property was sold, we noted the future buyer came to us and said, we don't have any information on this. So they,
73, the front property.
the Greenleaf property.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's right.
His
yeah,
property,
Yep.
Mr. Pagliarulo's property. So that property
We discovered that wasn't closed out at the time. Yeah.
by a potential buyer.
Yeah.
They sold to, I'll just use the name to identify them, the Pelletieris. Pagliarulo sold to Pelletieri. Pelletieri was selling to somebody else. That buyer came to us and said, we want to check out the sewer. That's when we discovered there was insufficient information. Pelletieris hired somebody to internally televise the line and radio track it and provide us with an as-built drawing. When that happened, then we looked at the Christie Hill property and discovered that the sewer was moved. I believe there was a permit, there just was no inspection,
And close out.
and there was no internal televising, and there was no as-built drawing submitted.
Okay.
And Rich from County is here. I believe his father is the person who actually did the work, and a former business partner actually pulled the permit.
Is there any further information that we don't have that you could add to what you heard?
No, because my father did it, and, you know, I was just a truck driver at the time, so I was just bouncing between job to job to job. And I really was not on the job long enough to even see what happened.
Yeah, okay. So basically, we're just trying to get, unfortunately, something that should have been closed out 17 years ago, we're just trying to get it closed out now. So can you help us do that?
What do you want from me? It's something where I know that HAP had pulled the permit on it, and I went back with Ricky's dad and just went through the entire process again, just to refresh my memory, and we had an easement of where the sewer line was supposed to go in, and just kind of had to jog my memory of everything that took place there. We've never had an infraction with the town, neither has county construction. When I spoke to Ed about it before, for the old line that was cambered, it was all done properly. It sounds like it was a paper error somewhere down the road.
It wasn't complete. I mean, what should have happened at the time is that our inspector would have gone out, taken a look at the pipe in the ground before it was backfilled.
Sure.
And then a map should have been filed with the town at the end of the job indicating the actual built position of the sewer. And those are really the things that are missing. And so the only way to get that at this point is a camera inspection with the radar and getting the location on a map.
And then, so you're looking for me to put that together?
A lot of time has passed, but because you're, an upstanding builder and you do work in town, and you've done work in town, we figured we'd ask you first.
Yeah, I would say I would appreciate some consideration from the town that perhaps the town might have lost paperwork for the inspection at least, and contribute into that.
Got blank stare so far.
That's a
So, let me get it right, so you're
Yeah.
claiming that it all would have been done at the same time, so there would have been one inspection, not two?
Well, there was no
It's
inspection.
going back so long.
Because I can see one,
Yeah,
two is pushing it.
yeah, and I
And
can't,
that's where I have the problem.
yeah, and I don't remember whether we did two at once or not. I can't honestly tell you whether they were done simultaneously.
Like I said, if it were one, I could see.
Oh, no, I understand what you're saying.
I could see the point in question.
Sure. I would find it hard to believe that I would miss two also. That I would, miss one, okay, possibly. Miss two, I kind of doubted two on my behalf.
But yeah, I mean, then there would be a map somewhere, right? Either a surveyor would have it, or you would have it.
And
or
I
we would have
I
it.
could go back to Jeff at Seymour and Associates and see if he's got anything that's there to
Yeah,
check
well,
that
I mean,
out.
if there is an as-built, that's one thing that's.
Sure.
Then they would have it. And we would have record of it.
I'm going to tend to wager he doesn't have it, because Jeff is usually pretty thorough also, and as far as, completing out jobs and submitting paperwork. And that's the other thing that's somewhat troubling is we got a CO on the piece of property, 20 years ago roughly, and it's like, how did that get missed?
Do we even own equipment that could camera that line?
Not with radar, not with detector on it.
Would it have been a straight shot from where? the Christie
Neither,
Hill
my
house-
memory is neither were straight shots.
No, it's, it
No, it
does
would
this
have to be
now.
a 45.
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
around the house.
but from the property line, you know where the sewer is on the property line or no?
Yes, I have the general recollection of where it is.
I'm just
I think, well, in last month's package, we saw the revised easement,
Yep.
right?
I'm just thinking an inch from the house, you know where it
It's
is in
like,
the house.
it's like that, or something like
Yeah,
that.
but I mean, you know that point, and you kind of know this, so it's.
Well, I assume there's,
You don't have to.
well, you would think there were cleanouts,
Yep.
because it's a long run.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just the easement, so there's no labels on any line to show a manhole or a clean out or anything. So we don't even know where our access point would be.
Right. Not the street. It would be the street.
So we have a camera, we just don't have a camera that does radar. So we could assess quality, but not position, assuming we had permission to access the properties and hold harmless and et cetera, which is why we typically don't do work. Well, I mean, we do, there have been unique situations, but we need those things if we're going to do it. We like to avoid it.
Would you be comfortable closing the permit out if the camera showed that it was built properly?
Oh, that's one step, but there's got to be an indication that it's in the easement.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the biggest
I mean,
thing.
you could somewhat, if you can do feet, you can somewhat assume that it's a 45 at that point that I drew this in.
By length and then distance in.
But, I mean, that might be pushing it, but just a suggestion. Because it doesn't look like a number of jogs, it just looks like the one, double 22, 45, whatever the case was, down at the,
Yep.
as they approached the property line on 73.
And that was
Yeah.
my memory also, was that we took one shot out from Sarah's house.
Yeah, why would you do
One shot
multiple
over.
vents?
Right,
Wouldn't
and then we
make
head
sense.
over into the easement, and then we went straight down the easement, right down the tree line.
Is it likely that there are cleanouts at or close to grade? That would-
Lou said he remembered that there were cleanouts there, but now it's been mulched and everything, and he believes that they're there, but he could not, I mean, for all of us, it's been 20 years, and he said,
Yeah.
I cannot remember where they are in this line, but his memory was that, yes, he believes there's cleanouts there.
So I'm thinking baby steps here, and hopefully we can all cooperate to just resolve this and get it behind us. But, one baby step would be you agree to call Seymour and see if they have any records of
I have no problem with that.
locating this pipe. and
Sure.
its position relative to the easement.
Can I jump in and, because
Yeah.
I think there is a clean out would
Here,
be
you're gonna
a
have
pipe.
to-
I'm sorry. It would be
Your name?
Sarah Christensen, 74 Christie Hill. Would a clean out be the pipe that comes up with the top on it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So right at the corner of the two properties,
no, wonderful.
I think there's one right there.
Okay.
Okay.
So perhaps we can, I don't know if you're willing to go out there and take a look around, someone's willing to go out there and look around the metal detector or find out where these cleanouts are, at least take pictures of them, uncover them.
They're gonna be all plastic, they're not gonna be metal.
Okay.
If they were, I certainly don't mind doing it,
Yeah.
just in practical terms.
But
That's
even
all.
getting that location of the clean out on the property line, you know where they.
At least we have an access point
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Is it, inappropriate for us to use our camera in this situation to help assess the quality of the installation.
We've got quite a long run on one of those sides. That may be an issue for us.
We might not be able to get the whole thing.
Yeah.
I can try and locate the other cleanouts.
Okay. So we're going to try to find an as-built. We're going to take a look just to see if we can find some cleanouts. If there were more than one cleanout, then we might be able to reach farther with our equipment. So then we would have quality.
And the distance between them all.
Yeah, and then we know there's cleanouts. And then, locating the cleanouts would be the last remaining item to confirm
Put it
there,
on the map,
which
yeah.
is, fairly small ask at the end of the day.
Okay.
So I guess let's take another step. We'll see if there's any mapping to date. We'll see if we can find any more cleanouts that could be available for inspection. And we'll see what information we get.
Okay.
Is that reasonable?
Sounds fine.
Thank you for coming in.
No problem.
How does that sound to you? Good so far? Okay. Good. Thank you very much for your willingness to
No problem.
cooperate.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
Tom? Good to see you.
Nice.
Yeah, no.
This person just stepped
That
out.
is true. That was item number 7, which effectively is being tabled. And now we're on to item 8, 3 and 4, Turnabout Lane, sewer line repair, discussion and action. You want to give me the intro, Darren?
Yes, to refresh the commission's recollection, at the last meeting, you asked staff to reach out to Hackers, which is at address number 4, to give their side of the story, since you already heard from the owners of Turnabout 3. I'm happy to report that since that time, Haggarders have come in with a licensed plumber and pulled a permit. They're ready to do the work. They're ready to proceed. It could happen within a week. And the commission also asked that we reach out to town council to look into ways that we could compel this to happen. Town council advises, I think accurately, that now that we have some movement on the project, we should proceed in a manner that is expeditious and cordial to finish the project and help both of these residents get out of the issue that they're in.
Okay. So is there anything stopping the work from progressing?
No.
Okay.
There's a full permit, I mean, unless there's a car parked in the way, and we've heard all different reports. If
Is there anybody here representing the Hagenders?
Mr. Hagender is here, and I believe his wife is here too.
Come on down.
Thank you.
Just your name for the record, please.
Elizabeth Hagender of 4 Turnabout Lane,
Thank you very much.
and I have some visuals to help. So hopefully just so you understand the geography of the street. The first one is 3 Turnabout Lane and their property.
I already passed out maps of your property that.
They see maps, and I won't use these.
Those maps I gave to
Okay,
that.
so these saw what was some of the maps.
The one that said big letter Palmer?
Yeah.
And then another one.
Mr. Hagender gave me those in between the last meeting and this meeting, which I made copies for the commission.
So I'm trying to condense 4 months into a very quick thing so we can all depart quickly this evening.
Sounds great.
So if you see, this is my neighbor's property, 3 Turnabout Lane. Their driveway is to the right. This picture was taken last week of their driveway that's fully accessible and their vehicles are in it. To the far left, where you see the small circle, that's where you'll see where the illegal driveway was placed. It's a partial driveway that was put up a few years ago with the intention of blocking access to our sewer, along with our shutoff valve that's underneath this asphalt now. Thank you. Also, there was a fence put there with, to further block any access. We have legal rights of easements. It's been proven over many times. And I'd like to, so perhaps, I guess we're here because my neighbor pointed out last month in the meeting that one day his pump is going to broke and we're going to get him. So I guess that's why we're all here. I certainly encourage you to re-review that for accuracy. The second partial driveway was created to store what looks like trash and a partial vehicle. You'll see the cars that are half parked in there and half parked in the road. Most of the month of January, along with half of the month of February, there was a vehicle also parked in the road blocking access to the work site when the real driveway was actually empty. It was not possible for us to actually get near the pump or the work site for quite a while, and after the ground froze, near impossible. If there was any sewage created, there's been some suggestion, and a number of times Mr. Knopf, the health director, I believe, was engaged to come out to their property because accusing us apparently of pumping sewage into their driveway. This pump has not been in use, so if there's any sewage in their driveway, they have created it. We have lost many of hours of work and family time, lost all of Thanksgiving, and 4 months later, I'm leaving work early to stand here yet again, use my son's college tuition to pay for this extensive project, and yet it seems that everyone's still not happy. I will try to condense a long 4 daunting months quickly. Thanksgiving, November 22nd, our sewer ejector pump. This was my mother's last Thanksgiving. We had family here from Ireland. My house was full. Unfortunately, this is the day that it happened. I didn't think it was a big deal because I know for a fact that we have legal right of easements, and my neighbor also knows this. You will also see the exhibits. They moved in on 2012, and 2013 you will see the proof of the repair, and that is item A in the package if you flip through after the pictures. You will also see listed as item B the title, and that shows under item number 16 that we have legal rights to maintain our sewer pump, and this is on file with the Darien Town Clerk. We were informed by the police department and also Town Hall that we would need to prove easement rights before we could repair. We soon realized where this was going to go, and once the pump broke, I relocated my family, and the rest of us tried to find places to shower and live. Alan spent a number of hours looking for documents over the past 20 years because we've done everything right with legal things. We have changed property with our other neighbor, Gary Hutchinson, and we bought a piece of land off of him, and that's also referenced on our title. We were forced to hire an attorney now to actually prove what we already proved, but we did go ahead and do that out of desperation because I needed to get my family back into our home. All the documents were provided to Mr. Knopf, and apparently that was still not enough. He had to come out to the property to see that we had a health issue, and so we did. Alan met him there to show him that we had a backup inside the house. Meanwhile, I'm moving around elderly people and the rest of my family trying to keep my job and my daughter in school while basically we were being treated like second-class citizens that were homeless, but we still dealt with it. And it was all due to the illegal blocking of my neighbor. So on Friday, November 30th, after Mr. Knopf was kind enough to negotiate an agreement on my neighbor's behalf with conditions to benefit her and ignore our legal rights, we agreed out of desperation. It's been 8 days of moving elderly people around and folks that came to have a nice holiday that had quite the opposite. 2 hours later, she canceled, so her game continues. She pretends that she has an attorney that she's reaching out to, yet no one knows who this attorney is. Please reach out. You will see item C showing the emails exchanged with Mr. Knopf. After thousands of dollars in attorney fees, we proved our legal right, and now we are negotiating with the person that blocked us illegally. Immediately, our attorney asked for her attorney's name, but then she disappeared. The lack of attorney was no surprise to me because attorneys cost money. We would have legally hoped at this point the town would have done what they should have done and had a court order issued, as what the police department told me they should have done, to have my neighbor move her car off of the sewer. During the time, there was no concern about anything. The fact that we were homeless, we had stuff backed up into our house, yet everyone was taking legal representation for my neighbor and not for us. So thousands of dollars later, we are still here, and we were forced to dig up the road. And I'll let Alan take over from here. He dealt with the harassment of the people.
Hi, I'm Alan Hagender. I'll make this quick. Good evening. First of all, I would like to take a moment to respond to the comments made by Ms. Katina Aspiazzu at last month's Sewer Commission meeting, for which I was not invited to defend myself. There are many facets to this ridiculous issue, and time does not allow me to address all of them. But I am going to address some of Mrs. Aspiazzu's character assassinations that I witnessed on the public broadcast on the Commission meeting of March 5th, 2019. I would like to point out that slander is illegal, and Ms. Katina Aspiazzu can and may be sued for many of her statements about me that were flat-out lies. Point one, I have never at any time threatened to kill Mr. Mora or Ms. Aspiazzu, as she stated last month. In fact, Mr. Marcelo Mora has threatened to kill me numerous times. This is in fact documented with the Darien Police Department. Point number two. We have already proven that the sewer pump in question is in our legal right-of-way. Since Ms. Aspiazzu has been a resident at 3 Turnabout Lane, she has never stated to us that she didn't like our pump in its current location. So as she stated in last month's meeting, she intentionally plotted a plan with her husband that if and when my pump that she regularly drives over ever broke, that she would, quote, get him. Point number 3. Again, in last month's meeting, Ms. Aspiazzu said she was so excited to buy a house, she didn't realize there was easements and road agreements. She, later in the meeting, contradicts herself, saying that there was an easement and it was a favor for her. I am unclear what she was ever even talking about in that statement. Point number 4. Ms. Aspiazzu claimed the trench is wide open and a safety hazard. The trench has always been covered with plywood, and the entire area has caution tape around it, which she regularly pulls down when I'm at work. In fact, she parks her car in front of it so no one could possibly ever drive into it or access it. David Knopf was recently at my house, unannounced, taking pictures of my work. So the town of Darien actually has proof of these safety measures. Point number 5. Ms. Aspiazzu, again, last month's meeting, stated, I quote, she was revenging for what he did. Again, I question what she was talking about. Here we go. The day the pump broke, the day after Thanksgiving, November 23rd, my wife called me at work stating that the sewer pump alarm was sounding. Having a house full of out-of-town visitors for the holidays, this was not good. I told my wife that the reserve holding tank should be fine until Saturday morning when I get off work to look at it. I work 24-hour shifts, so I work all night. Around 8 a.m. Saturday morning, I get home, remove the pump cover, and confirm that the pump was in fact not running. I then called the Environmental One pump company that has serviced the pump before. They said they would be down in 2 hours. At approximately 8:30 a.m. that same morning, Katina Aspiazzu and Marcelo Mora came storming out of their house, screaming profanities at me. Marcelo Mora said, "Get the F off my property or I will kill you, you effing a-hole." As I back away from Marcelo Mora, Katina jumped in her car that was parked in her first driveway and swung it around, nearly running me over, and parked directly on top of the pump so I could not have it repaired. This is when I called the police department. 2 police officers showed up and ordered Katina Aspiazzu into her house. Marcelo Mora disappeared when the police arrived. After I gave the officers the full story, they attempted to talk to Ms. Aspiazzu into moving her car, explaining this was not only unlawful, but immoral. Katina told the officers that she was not moving her car under any circumstance. This is the point where I had to move my family and visitors out of the house for almost a month. Weeks later, since I was desperate to get my family back into my home, I was forced to purchase and install an entire new sewer pump until this matter is resolved of my original pump. So now, here we are with all the legal fees and documents in these meetings, and I was told that we should keep in mind, I would just want to make a point to please keep in mind that I never abandoned my sewer pump. Okay, I was forced out of my sewer pump from Ms. Katina Aspiazzu. So I installed a secondary one to get back into my house. This should also, at the same point, this should also be made clear to Katina Aspiazzu and Marcelo Mora that I still own the pump and have legal access to the pump that is there now. The creation of this, the liquid that was next to the pump is also a lie. We were never able to use our pump or our bathrooms in any way. Mr. Knopf saw this with his own eyes, that the sewage was backed up into our first floor bathroom. Katina actually created a puddle of some sort next to the broken pump to claim that I was still able to use it. This was the leverage she used to get Mr. Knopf to represent her. I'm open to any questions.
Thank you. I'm very glad that we asked you in to hear the facts as you see them, and I appreciate you restraining yourself and sticking to the facts. It's obviously a emotional situation. Obviously, we can't adjudicate on the accuracy of everything, but it is good to hear both sides of the story. Really, our aim has been to resolve this from our perspective, which is to make sure we have an inspected connection, properly permitted, closed and covered, and that's what we're after. It sounds like we're on the road to getting that done in relatively short order. Is that accurate?
Yes, I've been meeting with, Darren has really stepped up and tried to help me at least get the hole covered up and the new sewer pump finished. So I just wanted to know, we still have the old pump is still in place, and we have a new pump on our property, 5 feet away from it on our property line that's running now.
Okay.
So I had to backfill it. I called Anthony right when I put it in Christmas time, saying it's getting cold. I have to backfill it somewhat for the winter. Can you come look at it? He said he can't until there's a
active permit.
A permit. So I took pictures and everything, and I backfilled it just 2 feet to keep it from freezing for the winter. So now it's springtime, and we're back into this. Is where we are now.
Okay.
So I came in and talked to Darren. And
so if you could guesstimate, when do you think that you would be complete with the work after inspection?
I spoke with Darren, and I have to dig up much of it, and he's going to come look at it at 2 times. He's going to come look at the area on my property, which is safe for me to work at, and I'm going to backfill that, and then I'm going to open up the connection, which is in front of Miss Aspiatu's house, which is where we're always harassed, and we're going to have police involved and things like that. So he's going to come and do that at a separate time where I may have to have a cop hired.
Okay.
So he agreed if I have to do it in two sections, but I'm going to start immediately.
Okay.
Now that it's warmed up.
Are there any questions from commission members for Mr. or Mrs. Hagender before we allow time for the neighbor to speak?
Just a quick question for Darren. What sort of map should he prepare to have the location of the new pump, so we have something to review where it is?
We'll ask the plumber, now that we have a proper permit, to prepare an as-built drawing. It's usually just our ties.
Tape ties and
building.
yeah, which is fine when it's close quarters.
If there's other surface features, the connection that he speaks of, if it's too far away from the building, it doesn't make sense.
Right.
We'll use some other surface features. If there's a monument in the center of that little circle or something, telephone pole.
Kind of like
We submitted something yesterday too, sort of to Anthony. Also, he does have a plan of where the new pump is.
Okay.
So there's something already in the office.
Good.
There is a drawing that shows the distance of the pump from the house, but we'll get an as-built drawing from the plumber. The plumber has done work in town before. He knows what our requirements are. He's a good plumber. We'll take arc ties from the corner of the house, and that plumber will submit an as-built drawing for us.
Okay.
We're confident we'll get what we need.
That would be in your file for future owners if the property were ever sold.
Yeah, that's why we do it.
Yep.
Bob, any questions?
Yeah, just so that I'm clear, I'm pretty familiar with what you're talking about, I'm pretty sure. E1 pump with the pump chamber, it's like 75 gallons, 30 inches across, 3 screws on the top, a convex cover?
Yeah, the original one was an E1.
Okay.
Since I was talking to service people and trying to get a new one installed, and I actually went and I bought a Liberty, which is easier for me to repair. Just the plumber has to pull it out, switch the pump. The E1 I have to have a guy come down from Massachusetts.
Yeah, it's proprietary.
Yeah, it's hard to get a contractor, just qualified, somebody certified to touch just E1 pumps. So the Liberty, anybody could pull the motor out and just switch out the motor. So I actually own a Liberty now.
More
They got
what I was-
construction materials.
More what I was wondering was the convexness.
It's a flat
of
top.
the fiberglass cover, and they were able to drive on that, it wasn't breaking?
It has tire marks all over. Yes, she drives on it. She drives on that, on our water shutoff valve. She paved over our water shutoff valve, so we have no way to shut the water off to our house either. That's a whole nother issue that I guess we don't know what to do. More lawyers, right?
Yeah, well, that's not
Right.
our
Right.
realm, sorry, I was just kind of.
She put a driveway on, yes, she put a driveway right around it. And
No, I was just surprised that.
a second driveway, I might
It
add.
didn't break, yeah.
I've opened a number of those and dealt.
It's
with
cracked, I've replaced the top, yes.
That, yeah, because the cover starts to.
The last time they came to service it, I had to have it cleaned out, and they sold me a new top because it was cracked.
Okay.
They had no problem with me servicing the last time. Now there's a problem.
And the tub that you were saying that was filled, is that on elevation? That's higher than the top of the E1 pump? Elevation, E1 pump.
Your first floor
Tub.
bathroom.
Well, I don't know, is
The tub is higher than the pump.
okay. So it's gravity to the pump.
Yes.
Got it.
Okay.
So, and it sat for a month, and everything was just the pump, all the pipes were solid, and I had to cut all the pipes out in the basement and redo all the plumbing in the basement also, the 4-inch. Because it sat for long, just dried out, and everything was clogged, and I had to completely cut everything out. It was a nightmare, including the tub.
Channel 70
$30,000, I'm into this now, and I,
Yeah, no, I'm just trying to get the full,
Yeah.
I mean, this part of it, I'm very familiar
He's
with.
just going through the possibility of a check
Yeah.
valve, right? You're thinking
No, I was
check if he
just,
needed it.
That's his own.
I'm just putting things together. You have,
Trying to understand
he said, and I don't want to, but if the elevation of the tub was that above the elevation of the E1 pump, having gone out to numerous pumps where the power wasn't working, so that the chamber flooded, they leaked.
Yeah.
If yours didn't, yours is the
the
exception.
chamber could certainly have been flooded. We had the top half off when she parked her car on top, and I've never touched it since.
One
What
second.
I'm saying is that the elevation of
Yeah.
the tub you're talking about.
Yeah,
was
so
full,
what's your
was
point?
above- I'm just trying to put things together. You're saying she made the puddle, she's saying it came.
I'm not
from-
claiming she did, but I certainly didn't.
I guess what Bob's getting to, technically, he's trying to understand, it might have been feasible if you were using plumbing in the house, even though you were getting a backup in the first floor bathroom, that additionally was causing a backup at the pump chamber. I think that's what you're getting at, Bob.
Could have, sure could have.
And the lid is not watertight.
Sure could have. Was I supposed to do something about that?
Yeah, we're just
No,
getting the
but
facts straight.
this is the effluent, the exfiltration of the sewage
Yep.
going into the ground.
Yep.
Is our concern. That's pollution.
I know that.
So that is our concern.
Yeah.
So
you
that's where
have-
I'm just trying to.
So my point here is why
Get all
why
the
did
pieces.
why did the town not have this, have a judge court order and have her move her car so I could just repair the pump in the first place, which I have the legal right and access to. But now the town wants to get involved with everything else after the fact. They're working for her. That's what I don't understand. That's where I'm at a
So-
complete
I'm not
loss.
working for anyone.
I'm not saying you are.
This is my heart.
I'm saying other people in this building.
Okay.
Nobody in this room, okay? I'm not calling
I-
anybody in this room.
So Bob, do you understand the connection now?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm very familiar with the pump.
Yep.
And like I said, I would think that effluent leak came from seepage under the cover. Is what I was just.
I understand too.
I know, but I'm just clarifying
Yeah.
some of the points.
So you've clarified?
Yes.
Channel 79 is recording today. Darren's taking brief notes of the meeting. You had notes that you read from. Would you like to make those part of the record?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I just ask you to hand those in or make copies of them and hand them in.
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
Any other questions?
Is that general practice? People hand in notes if you request them? Is that what I should
It's
do?
not,
Well, it's optional, just.
people read letters and submit them, but I'm not requiring it.
Okay.
I'm asking if you want to do it.
Yeah, it's
If
up
you
to you.
don't, that's fine.
That's all.
If I'm something I should do, I have no problem. I have no problem anybody reading or seeing the video or reading the notes.
Yep, okay. You might have your own reasons for wanting a record to read
Sure.
clearly. So
After last month's meeting, yes.
that's all I'm asking for. Any further questions for Mr. Hagender?
No, I just was.
Any questions, staff, for Mr. Hagender? Any points of clarification so far? Okay, thank you very much for coming in and telling us your side of the story and your facts as you see them. Any other members of the public wishing to speak can approach now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything to add?
Just want to be.
You don't have to talk if you don't want to. First, let me offer that. But if you're going to talk, please come up and state your name for the record.
Okay. Hi, my name is Katina Spiazzo. I'm very kind of concerned a little bit about what the Haagen-Dazs saying. I want to know how long it's going to take to cover the access for us for the parking lot.
Well, let me ask a question of you. I don't know what's happened
Because
in the
they-
past, but are you going to fully cooperate with their efforts to fix and cover the line and the pipe?
And that's what I was going to refer also. What Mr. and Mrs. Haagen-Dazs saying is not true. And I don't want to be going back and forth because this
Either
is
do I.
not like a.
So honestly, the history matters less to me than getting this resolved quickly.
Exactly.
And so it's very easy for you to say, I'm 100% in favor and will fully cooperate with them getting this fixed and covered as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that's what we've been doing because as maybe Mr. Haagen-Dazs and Mrs. Haagen-Dazs seeing it, we've been parking because we have right now 3 cars and very difficult parking for us to be letting do what they need to do. And they claim there was car there. I don't know, maybe you guys already been aware because we put solar panel and there was people there working. And even for that people, it was so hard and so difficult they has to ask my other neighbor for the parking lot. So I'm more than happy to see that road fixed because I'm number one who want to have that done. Okay. And I'm going to be cooperating with everything what we can because we don't want more fighting or harassing from Mr. Haagen-Dazs that every day, daily, when we do something, he's harassing us. I'm done. And then if he don't know, my husband is sick, like I just told you the last time. He's not supposed to be here, okay, because cancer is not like, oh, I'm sick because I'm coughing, I'm sick. No, this is something serious. And I have papers. And what Mr. Haagen-Dazs been saying is not true.
Right,
and I leave it to God, everything.
Okay.
But I'm more than welcome to let him to work and finish this what they need to finish. Okay. But I'm not expecting to be done in 15 years, in 13 years, or in 2 years. Because this has to be done ASAP.
My understanding is that action is going to be taken effectively now, and this should be resolved in a matter of weeks as long as everybody's cooperating. Is that fair to say?
That's my impression, that's what we were told.
Okay.
That's what the plumber said, that's what Mr. Hagender said.
Okay.
Yes.
I really appreciate it for everything what you guys been doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I have a comment. The pump cover that we're referring to,
yes.
If I was you, I wouldn't drive on it.
No, we do not have access to drive.
I'm just saying, I've opened a couple hundred of them. And I just wouldn't. I mean, I wouldn't trust that my car wouldn't end up in it.
Exactly. So, this is what my husband said, because I was parking my car. I have an Audi, and then even my husband said, you know what? Don't park the car there. Park the car over there. And they claim also about the second parking lot. That is not true because that was there already. What we just did, put a little, what is it called? The black top to because it was dirt. That's all what we did. We're not making anything change. What we're making is to make the environment to build up with the house. I guess they're not happy because they don't like to do anything, and that's not my fault. That's it. And then I'm talking also about the cover. The cover is very high. It's not like it touching the blacktop. It's not touching at all the cover. So it's like blacktop here, cover is over here.
Okay, there's usually a reason why the cover's up like that. Because the same way that water can come out, water can go in. So you want it above the ground, so the ground, runoff doesn't go in there. So there's a reason for the way it's put in there that way. Professionals put it in there with a reason.
No, that's what I'm saying. We don't even touch at all anything about that. We're not being touching anything. And everything what I show you the pictures is because that's why I say, if you're not using, like if when I call the health department, why is all this? So they was using it. They was never leave, like they say, they claim about going away and this and that. They never leave. They was there all the time. And we have,
I can't speak to that. I can only speak to my expertise, and that would be that you don't drive on pump chamber cover.
okay, that's
Got
fine.
that clear too.
But that's the other thing. So after he's going to, that means what they're going to happen with the existing pump in my property?
That's not up to us, as long as we have a new connection.
Uh-huh.
that's,
So what is going to happen with that?
inspected.
We're allowed to close that or not?
I haven't seen
I still think they have the right
enough
way.
information to make a decision on that
Okay.
either way, and I don't know that it's up to us anyway.
Okay. So when I can find
They
out?
certainly have submitted certain things and made a claim that they still have the right to it, and we're not going to make a determination on that.
Okay. So, but then we going to have an answer for that or no?
Probably not from us.
So from who?
Yeah, I mean,
It's not connected to the sewer, it's not under our jurisdiction. It might as well be a fire hydrant or a car that's buried there. The fact that it's a sewage pump makes no difference to us because it's not connected to our system.
Yep.
So what does that
To
mean?
me, it's
It's
a question for a real estate attorney, not for the sewer commission. You know,
Okay.
whose sewer pump station it is and who has rights to it and who, you know, that you'd have to look at a title report, you'd have to have an opinion, you have to talk to the title insurance company, and that's just something that we're not gonna get into.
I think the most important thing is that from listening to you and listening to your neighbor, you both want it solved.
Yes, correct.
Just be. Okay?
Yeah, that's what we've been.
No. Emotions are very high. Going forward, in the next 2 weeks, a month, whatever it takes to finish what you need to get both of your lives back in order as best as possible. I think
Okay.
you should try and do that
Yes.
for everyone.
I give him my word, like I say.
Thank you.
We give him a space, let him work. Only thing, communication, when somebody's gonna come
If
to
they,
a property.
if they need you to move a car or
Yes,
something, you know,
that's it.
the guy will come to the door, the plumber.
Knock the
can come.
door, ring bell, and that's it.
Okay?
Okay?
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
No, thank you.
Anybody else like to speak on the record?
Yeah, just real quick, just one more statement.
Come on up.
Defend myself and we'll be done.
Okay.
First of all, I just want to clear up the cancer thing. The whole reason why we had people over for the holidays was for my mother-in-law who actually died of stage 4 cancer. Just not what
I'm sorry
he's
to
doing.
hear
Yeah. He works on his house every day. He's in perfectly good health. So I just wanted to point that out. Okay, I'm tired of hearing about that every day. So your question about the driving on the pump cover, yes. Yes, that's probably how the pump broke, because I had a new motor put in there not long ago, and the pump was broken again after she put a driveway in and was driving on it. I don't know.
I would say no.
I don't know. I could question it, right?
You could.
I could
but
question why I need a new pump cover again.
Okay, in
Yeah.
my,
That certainly you could.
Right. I'm
Pump
not
cover,
accusing,
yes.
I'm not accusing it, I'm not saying she owes me a new pump.
that
Just
kind
making
of
a point. Right.
made my hackles raise. So.
Right. So, and once again, for the record, I do own the pump and I do have a legal easement. If she chooses to get rid of it, she can have her attorney contact me, but she doesn't have an attorney. She keeps stating she has an attorney. We've never seen an attorney yet. If she actually wants to get an attorney and contact me, she can make arrangements to probably get it moved. That's up to her. So
And I've been clear so far.
we have never heard from her attorney at all on anything.
Understood. And I've been clear so far that the sewer commission is not going to make take a position on
Anything.
Right.
the appropriate easements or title or anything.
Right, because you're done. You want to connect it and the permit backfilled, and you guys are done with it. I understand
Yes.
that.
It's now a piece of plastic in the ground.
I mean, you can see,
Right.
that we had a case earlier.
I hate to say it that way, but that's what it now
Right,
is.
that I own in my
Yes.
legal easement and legal
Yes.
right of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's,
Again, thank you
Thank you
for coming in,
Yeah.
and thank you for doing your best
thank you
to stick
for
to the facts.
hearing us, I guess. And
No, that's a worry.
thanks, these guys actually really went out of their way to try to help me out, so thank you, Darren.
That means a lot.
Our guys in the department
That means an
are,
awful lot.
I mean, at the end of
Top
this,
notch.
hearing you say that does mean a lot. Because
but honestly,
I read the letter.
There's a lot of people that weren't really interested in this. It's very complicated and it was easy to dodge. So at least he tried to help me do something here now that it's springtime and it's still dug up. So
good. Thank you.
yep.
Good luck.
Thank you.
So, I gotta find my agenda.
What?
So,
Finding the
this was
agenda.
number 8, 3 and 4 Turnabout Lane. We have had plenty of discussion. We are going to take no action, but we are hopeful that the only thing that has to happen next month is that Darren tells us the permit's closed and everything's okay, and we don't have to hear from anyone. Good?
Well done.
Amen. All right. Item number 9, low-pressure sewer pump maintenance permit procedures.
Oh, you guys should read this stuff.
This one is, it's easy and it's interesting.
Okay.
If it was only yesterday.
An issue has come up, and I'm surprised it hasn't come up before. When someone repairs a low-pressure pump, not like the case we just heard, but in a normal case, where there's a problem with the pump, we have a vendor that is an authorized rep for E1, and they usually come out, and they'll come in the middle of the night if you call them, and they'll pull a pump out and put a new pump in and have the old pump repaired, right?
Yep.
It turns out that those people are not plumbers. They don't have a plumbing license.
Not surprising.
Technicians or whatever.
Surprised me. So what happened in another case, not related to this one, somebody came to have some work done, and it was all within the pump chamber, which we normally don't even, I'm just gonna be honest, we don't even get involved in that. We don't ask for a permit. If you had a pump and you called somebody at 2 o'clock in the morning and they changed your pump out, we are happy for you. Technically, if you touch our sewer, you're supposed to have a permit. If you have you can't pull a permit unless you have a proper license. The interesting irony here is that a normal plumber who has the proper credentials is not qualified to
He's not
do
certified.
work on the
Yeah,
pump.
because he has to get training from them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, okay.
What if we just call it?
He's
maintenance?
qualified, but he's not certified by the
Okay.
manufacturer.
And what happened was they found, the way this all came about is, they found a bad wire on this particular pump. We don't inspect the wires either. So, they're working outside of the pump, and then they exposed the sewer, and should they have a permit? We said, yeah, if you're gonna expose the sewer, you should have a permit. Unfortunately, they said, we can't pull a permit, we don't have a plumber on
Is
site.
there
what
a
do we
check
do?
valve on the other side of the E1? Is there some sort of check valve that keeps
Yeah.
it from? So
Yes.
in essence, the system isn't being compromised by changing a pump.
No.
Okay, it's
Oh, no, they're
fine.
the
And
experts.
it's their pump.
It's their pump.
their
so
pump.
Yeah, but
so
the building code says if you're messing with the
yeah,
stuff,
I
you're
get it,
supposed to
I
have a
get it.
license.
I think it's maintenance.
I think
But-
they pulled a permit from the building department for the wire, which they should have.
That's nuts.
Our
too.
question to you is,
They're replacing
are
a
you
pump.
okay inside the pump
Yeah.
with us being hands-off?
Yes, and without a permit.
What he said.
Well, hands off or
It's maintenance.
have a positive statement that we're comfortable with
The certified.
manufacturers, certified individuals, or plumbers being able to do the work. That, or do we even need to go there?
I don't even think we need to go
Not the
there.
second piece, but you want to say qualified individual,
Oh,
Qualified to change
certified
a
by
pump.
the manufacturer. yeah.
Qualified individual
That's-
certified by the
that's generally
manufacturer.
inside the code.
Bob can do the work. Bob can do the
excited. He
work.
wants the wording.
okay.
Yeah, you actually should be able to do
Without a
that.
permit.
I've done this at least a dozen times.
I'm
Is it
guessing
a big
not
deal,
plumbing.
Bob?
I am not a plumber.
Is it a big deal?
I did hold an SP2 swimming pool license. So, but
They
that's
have
irrelevant.
pumps
All right.
too, though, right?
Excuse me?
Swimming pools
Yes.
have pumps.
Okay, so anyway.
Tom knows his way around a pump.
It issue that is more at hand is houses up here, pumps here, pump fails. Guess what's gonna happen when they take the cover off? You're gonna have an SSO. According to the state, now SSOs of any size are supposed to be reported.
We do, but that's not ours. That's the individual's.
Private.
It's in the town of Darien. According to the class I went to, it's if we know about it, we're supposed to report it.
We report everything we know
If we
about.
know about it, we
No,
report
I'm
everything
not,
we know.
I'm just stating the things I know that are facts.
So we had to put a valve before the pump to shut it down, right? Is that what you're saying? Might be smart.
Might not be the worst idea ever made. The other thing is, what happens is there's an upper
Open the clean
chamber
out in the basement.
and a storage chamber.
Yeah. That's the backup.
The upper chamber ends up flooding through the vent. It's this far.
I'm sorry, can I ask a question?
Yes.
We were talking about the certification requirements for individuals fixing E1 pumps and the like.
Well, I'm explaining how much of an SSO it is
Have you had them explode?
is where I'm going to.
Yeah, but what does an SSO have to do with the individual fixing it?
I'm just, if they come.
I'm just trying to get you on topic. I'm just trying to get you on topic. The question
It's
is,
part of it. I
Yeah.
want, where I'm going is, I want
Thank
you
you.
to ask these certified technicians what they do with the water. That's what I want, that's where I'm
I knew
going.
where he was going.
okay, so yeah.
Because I would be very interested to hear their answer. Wouldn't be surprised if the storm drain.
No, do you think?
Yes.
I've seen people do all sorts of
They
things
kind of have to at that point.
inappropriately with pumps too.
Okay,
but-
so,
The most important thing
But-
is getting it fixed, right?
How far
Properly.
do you want to carry
I'm-
our oversight and responsibility?
I'm just putting it out there. I'm not making,
Yeah.
But are you saying that on the permit for, like, A, we don't even have a permit for
I don't
it,
think we should have a
because this is a
permit.
maintenance activity.
Make one.
No, no.
Do we make
permit.
one?
Make 'em.
No, we don't make,
Absolutely
so,
not.
like,
not a
it's like,
permit,
hey,
but,
you have a pump, you want to put a new pump in there, go
Yeah,
ahead.
do your thing.
If you got to make a new electrical hookup because it's not just a
Yeah.
plug and play, then go get your electrical permit from the building department.
Or just do it.
well, if it's electrical, we
Couldn't do
want,
it.
if it's electrical, we want
These people.
an electrician to do it.
They come in 2 hours.
It's plumbing, do we want do we want a plumber? I mean, I understand where Darren's
So-
coming from, but I would say no.
These happens 11:30 PM on Friday
Exactly.
night.
Yeah, I know when they happen.
It's,
We're not here.
yeah. You're not gonna wait till Monday morning.
Darren's
may-
gotta respond.
Darren may be here.
Darren might be on the phone. Yeah. Waiting for a snowstorm.
I think just defining our limits,
Can we, yes.
which is very simple, and if I may help, inside, we have no jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Outside, any work on that line going out requires a
Yeah.
permit.
If the work is entirely confined within the pump station and it's a maintenance activity, the only thing we would advise is that it be done by a qualified individual certified by the manufacturer.
An environmentally sound method,
And,
Bob?
and
That's-
I would
They
just,
follow all-
one hand, ask.
Follow all applicable
Yeah.
codes
State-
requirements,
state laws for removal of.
disposal of effluent,
Effluent.
removal and disposal of effluent.
Okay.
I think it would be good to say that on a memo somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm
This
just
is our
putting it out
policy.
there. I don't know what I would do if I were them and I had to do that. I'd probably have to bring a drum with me.
All right.
I think there's maybe something we can put online. Just a
Yeah.
pump replacement repair, please notice that no
Yeah.
permit is required, but we recommend that.
Follow all health code.
Do you want an official action on that? Okay. Do I have a first?
Yeah, I'll move that.
Do I have a second?
Oh, sure.
Okay. So as scribed. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Item 10.
Anthony from Ross' office asked if the commission would like to continue reading meters now that we've changed the billing system.
Residential meters? No.
No residential?
Well, I think we would have to notify the the residential meters that we read, send them a letter and say, hey, by the way, we modified the way we do our billing. So now your
The likelihood.
your sewer user charge is based on
Yeah.
your domestic water flows between November and March. And therefore, we're going to discontinue our meter reading program on your irrigation system. Now, we still do read some residential meters. I think people that are on well
Oh, true.
have said they don't agree with the well charge. So they might have their own meters. Am I correct in that?
That's correct.
Yeah. So we would continue to read those.
Well meters continue to read. Because
And
the
commercial.
well meters.
Because the reason
are
they
based
want
on
them is they want
average
to be
volume.
billed less than $500
Yeah.
because they're using less water.
Right. They want, if theoretically they can get down to the minimum, not lower
Yes.
than
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yep. And commercial, we still read because we didn't change commercial billing procedures.
And maybe a little preamble to that, due to acquiring billing monthly, we were able to make this policy change.
Yeah.
To make them feel better that they spent the money on the meter and installed it.
But it wasn't, and it was an action taken by Aquarian.
Right,
to
that triggered the event that
That gave
allowed
us
us-
more accurate data and enabled us to focus on a
And
non-exterior water use period of
seek
time.
equity.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you'll write something that sounds nice.
Yeah. You don't want people getting
So
upset.
we're not giving them the option to keep the meter.
I don't know why they would need it, do you?
Well,
I mean, unless you were gonna use.
I'm not taking my meter out. Why would I
irrigation.
pay to
Yeah.
take my meter out? But I guess if they said,
They'll come to you.
yeah,
Irrigation
Yeah.
after November 15th or before March 15th?
November
You'll have
1st.
somebody
Nah,
watering in
that usually-
December.
well-
The billing's a little
Usually
messy.
when you read that one where it has the actual date, it's much closer to the middle of the month. It's 10 to 20.
Yeah.
So you can get some,
Yes, you're gonna,
Depending on
you
when they
may
do
get
the
an
reading.
anomaly here or there.
when you get,
I-
when they do the reading.
I mean, maybe you could just for the
Let's
first year.
throw that out there and
Throw
see
it
if
out there and see
anyone
what happens.
says, like,
If-
there's a reason I need to keep.
Yeah, if you still feel the need, we're gonna do a trial run for this next year, and feel free to call us.
Just to make sure,
right.
Roten is considered a commercial, Roten Fire Department is a commercial account?
Would you like an official action on this?
We're gonna, you know what, bring you a letter back to look at.
Thank you.
And then the action.
Thank you. Superintendent's,
The Roten Fire Department is a commercial account? Because they do fill their trucks all year round.
not residential.
I'm just making sure. I would assume so, but
You didn't memorize them?
You would like us to check to make sure that.
no, I'm just
No, you bring
kind
it
of
up.
throwing it.
and-
All right,
let's
yeah,
check
I
it.
mean,
Let's,
I could
curiosity.
probably, I don't have that, no, that book I don't have with me. I still have that bound book that,
The copy tool book, users.
yes, I still
Yeah.
have it. Don't, I just forgot to bring it. I'm starting to accumulate too much. I'm gonna have to wheel it in.
File cabinet each time. So start scanning. Everybody okay if I go down to number 11?
I just want to get the new business.
No,
Distractions.
not
Sounds
gonna
like a
happen.
meeting to me.
Item number 11, superintendent's report.
Okay, I am currently working on the RFP for I&I. We did have a meeting with a consultant. Weston and Sampson was nice enough to come down. They heard we were doing it and wanted to sit with us and give us a little input on what they've done the last couple of years. And I intend on reaching out to a couple more consultants. I'd like to get their feel too. If it can get me in the right direction and tighten up my RFQ a little bit better, I think that's a benefit. We do have a meeting set tentatively for April 25th with Greenwich to meet with their Public Works Director and their Waste Division Director.
Chris Manders, the field operations manager.
Rich Feminella.
Rich Feminella is the division manager.
That's it.
Okay.
Meet with him and Annie Super.
Oh, really?
Yep.
She's superintendent of DPW.
Yep. They were nice enough to put some time aside for us, and we're going to go down and see them. So that is moving along swimmingly.
What was it, April 21st?
Pun
April
intended.
25th. Unfortunately, I'm not here for a couple of weeks. I can send Aaron and
No, that's fine. Do you know what time it is?
Bob might be patrolling the water cooler at that time.
Is she working?
I'm out at 2.
It's at 1:30.
I can leave early that day.
Seagate?
Seagate, nothing new to report there. We're still waiting on the attorneys and YMCA board. The YMCA board is very receptive. It's just their attorney we've been working on to kind of move it along. Heather Lane and Lake Drive meter crossings, we are working on that. We actually have a bid out for electrical stuff that's due on May 6th, I believe. Clark's Lane sewer extension, that's 11D. We finally got the interest rate. It's 2.67%. We will be mailing out notices of sewer assessment, legal notices, as well as a questionnaire of residents whether they want to pay overtime or not, if they want to elect the installment plan for 20 years. E, we did have it's not on there.
Go ahead.
What?
Okay.
You're really currying favor here, adding.
Continue, please.
That's like new business.
We did have a minor bypass at the Sedgwick Village condominium. We estimated 20 gallons. We did report it. It turned out to be roots. We took care of it within an hour.
Blockage by roots?
It was a block. There was some weeping around the manhole. Never made it to the river. It was
Sedgwick Village?
actually it was so small.
Did you say Sedgwick Village?
Yeah.
Sedgwick Village.
Which one's
across
that?
from-
Opposite from the
Good Wife Shopping.
Oh, okay.
Good White Shopping.
Got it.
Yeah.
That condo there.
We actually self-reported. Anthony happened to be in the neighborhood. He noticed some damp pavement. We checked it out and fixed it. Nobody even reported it to us, but we took care of it.
Okay.
Was that last Wednesday about 3:30?
That sounds right.
Yeah. So,
I think it was earlier.
Tuesday, and then Wednesday we cameraed the.
Oh, Wednesday
Yeah,
was, all right.
Yeah, that was,
Because I was there when they were cameraing.
Yep.
yeah, item F.
Stopped by, I was recognized by the crowd. Had to
really?
sign
Did
autographs.
you get claps and applauses?
Item number 11F, the following day, we TV'd and cleaned Mechanic Street.
And they were saying something, was it 30 feet or 60 feet in was stopping them. What did they find?
That's correct. We don't know.
We were gonna go back and look.
We're gonna go back. We
As
went
soon
in
as
from
that- as soon
both
as that water
ways.
level goes down, then we can drop that camera in again, and we're doing it. I want a better picture, and right now, the folds are just a little bit too high for me. Plus, I have some other work I wanna do, and I wanna set that up too. So he's there for the whole day.
Okay. Did the flow improve when they cleaned it?
I wanna tell you yes, but, I have skeptics around me that won't give me the benefit.
Okay.
I think we're gonna see the benefit when the flows start to increase.
That's when you're gonna know.
Then I'm gonna know. That bottleneck right now probably wasn't enough during the average flow that we have here to impact it. It's when we started to fill that pipe with water that restriction takes over and forces it back to the man.
On a normal day, if it's not above the bench wall, and then we clean it and it's not above the bench wall, what he said, once it rains, then we'll know.
Any other?
11, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was gonna go on to 11G. Unless you have a question on.
Just keep talking. I don't care about
Keep
letters.
going? Okay. Item G.
Setting the bar here.
We received a visit from an employee of Book Aid about the claim on the Post Road. We advised the gentleman to appear before you. We expressed our concerns about the difficulty we're having in ascertaining whether or not these two events are even related. We know it times out correctly. Correlation does only equals causation.
Listen or so.
He was very thankful, showed me some pictures we had already seen, said he would probably show up at a meeting. I did not see him here tonight.
What,
That was the one
what's
where
our
we saw-
protocol? I mean, we've, in the past, we have, I don't know if this is the right word, adjudicated claims and made decisions. with this body. The question is whether or not and when, what form should a claim take, what information should they provide, what process should we go through, when do we seek outside concurrence. I think what we've said in the past is, if it's small, let's try to handle it. If it's big, we'll go through a different process. And that's as much of a policy I think we have. Do we need more?
Yeah, I think
We
the
need
only
more of a
thing
policy.
We tightened up a little bit was, every claim now is filed with the town clerk.
Got it.
Every single one. Whatever information that they have, we would ask them they file it with those paperwork and provide us a copy of that also. We will do our investigative work on this also before we come in front of the
Okay.
board, where we would invite the individual impacted to come and present their case,
Got it.
depending on what the magnitude of the thing.
That sounds great. That's much better than what I said.
It was similar.
The only
They're on
other
the same
problem
track.
was, with this situation, there was no one that found the issue for a week or so until after.
Because they don't occupy the building all the time, don't go down to the basement a lot, or whatever it is.
Weren't even there.
The boiler wasn't on, there was
Yeah.
no need for it, they weren't using it, there's no
Only
need to go
books.
down there. So when they went to go down there to fire it up, then they found the water. So there's a piece missing for me to say, yeah, absolutely, it's ours. I have trouble with that.
Mm.
I'm not calling the man a liar or any way, shape, or form.
There was a lot of rain around that time, you know.
It rained quite a bit. So how did the water get in there? So I would hope that anytime we get something from a resident that says they were impacted, we are able to get out to their property in a timely fashion to inspect it. So that we do have information that we can present to you.
Were any other properties affected other than, was it 1920 and then the bouquet?
We heard-
Dominic's Garden Center, did he,
1950.
1950?
1958 was clear, 1950.
Will we talk about some of this stuff under 13A?
Yeah.
So let's talk about some of the stuff
Okay.
under 13A.
So 11H. We have the first person who wants to connect to Penny Sewer, Noble Hill LLC. It's on Locust Hill. The pro rata share for Penny Sewer is $42,000 and change. We have an appraisal on the nearby Clocks Lane, which values the sewer connection at $50,000. It wasn't specific to Penny's project, however, we felt that it was adequate, more than adequate, because the house that's being built is, it appears to be much more valuable than the least expensive house in a property that's not even 1,000 feet away. We told them that they needed to pay us before we would give a permit out. We collected the money,
Which amount of money? 42?
$42,000 and
Okay.
change.
How is that figured, Darren? Just for the folks at home, how do you come up with 42 grand?
Oh, we took whatever Penny spent, which was near $1 million, divided it by the potential connections.
Okay,
It might help the commission to remember that when we extended the sewer on Clocks Lane and Settles Trail, we paid Penny $42,000.
but that was one connection.
That was one
And
connection.
this is
That's
one
a pro rata
connection.
share. This is one connection, and these people have graciously submitted a check. We deposited it, and we're going to write a check to Penny. I present it for informational purposes, and on the small chance that you want me to go out and get another benefit appraisal on this particular property, which I have every confidence would show
Well, they're willing to
more
pay
than
it.
50.
They're willing to pay it, and it's, so that's
Yeah.
their
They paid
benefit.
it.
Yeah,
Look,
you don't need to do
it's
that.
defined in
Statute.
the developer's agreement with Penny. And it is validated by recent work we did in the area.
Yes.
We're done.
I agree. Thank you.
Okay.
It's great that it shows that's a larger parcel, and even the benefit's worth the hooking up to the sewer rather than trying to put a septic.
Yeah, well, yeah. 40, yeah.
Yeah.
New septic system would be more.
Yeah, if you're planning for septic system, could be that.
I wish. Good money. Someone should get in there.
Further affirms that we did the right thing, yeah. We did the right thing there.
Anything else, Mr. Austin?
I've conferred with the sewer superintendent, and he said, we have nothing further to add.
Was that like, shut up, Darren? I'm trying to get home.
I have no new business. Would you like me to?
The chairman is right there.
Oh, okay. If you don't
He
have.
doesn't even want to look
Is there,
my way.
is there any request for new business?
Yes, I would like 30 seconds.
Need 2/3.
I just don't buy it. What's the nature of the new
Are you
business?
going to-
What's the subject matter? Can you give me
ask for
6
action?
words or less?
No, well, yes, action
I need
on,
a 2/3 majority to entertain new business.
on personals, on people's.
I'll grant that.
Okay.
There's a first to go into new business. Do I have a second to go into new business?
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed?
You made it longer already.
2/3, we're
I'm
in.
gonna go right now, seriously, one statement. I would kindly request that all individuals connected with the sewer department administration and the commission visit the Nearwater pump station and see what will be
Okay.
exposed when we clean out the brush between.
Want me to go to the beach? Done.
I'm done. That's it.
Thank you. 30 seconds, that was great.
You did it.
All right, so Channel 79. The next item on our agenda is an executive session, which will be off the air for, which was at 6:20. We promise you that when we come back from executive session, all we're going to do is adjourn.
Although
So,
Peter's not here, that's going to be
Ed will,
hard.
or Darren will confirm that Channel 79 is off